Good morning, it's Tuesday, April 21st, and today we're going to be talking about our attention and the role that that plays in shaping our behaviors. So the prompt from the Daily Stoic was, how long can I go without letting my attention slide? So I've spent the last couple of weeks talking and checking in with people around the world to see how they're handling this crisis. And it's easy to quickly discern how some people are doing relative to others. Not how they are physically, but how they are mentally. I mean, are they spiraling down? Are they merely coping? Or are they thriving? And for those that are thriving, what I've noticed is that consciously or unconsciously, they're using and living the three Stoic disciplines of the mind, the body, and soul, which are perception, action, will. Perception, the ability to see things clearly and objectively. Action, to selflessly do what they can. And will, to endure and accept that which they cannot change. Now, the people who are embracing these disciplines overall have a lower level of stress, genuine optimism, better mental clarity and focus, heightened empathy towards others, and generally view this period as an opportunity for improvement, something which they may actually look at from the other side with a sense of satisfaction in how they handled an undeniably challenging situation with grace, poise, and action. Now, that all sounds pretty good, right? Well, on one hand, I'm telling you that unequivocally, this stuff works. I mean, there's a reason that this 2,000-year-old wisdom survived the test of time, and that it's enjoying a resurgence in today's modern world. But on the other hand, I'm also telling you that for many of us, it's not natural. It's not how society has molded us. It doesn't always fit within the generally expected or even accepted social norms. But as with the development of any new skill, we can direct our attention and reshape our habits that enable that transition. So Epictetus says, is it possible to be free from error? Not by any means, but it is possible to be a person always stretching to avoid error. For we must be content to at least escape a few mistakes by never letting our attention slide. So that requires constant focus on the targets of our attention. That requires self-control. But self-control can be exhausting. We all have our limits. Now, as the author James Clear says in Atomic Habits, that self-control is a short-term strategy, not a long-term one. We need to get to the point of automaticity, where we have the ability to perform a behavior without thinking about each step, where we allow the non-conscious mind to take over. So all habits follow a similar trajectory from effortful practice to automatic behavior. And those habits are based on frequency, not on time. That's an important thing to note here. Clear says that mastery requires narrowing your focus to a tiny element of success and repeating it until you have internalized this habit as the foundation to advance to the next frontier of that development. So there's an entire incredibly well-written book that he has on the market that's dedicated to this topic, but I wanted to offer some practical reminders to help us out in our daily life. So step by step. Number one, the process of behavior change starts with awareness. Go ahead and write down the areas that you want to change. Let's use for an example, we want to eliminate or minimize the role that complaining plays in our daily life. Start by noticing that, writing it down. Number two, have a plan developed beforehand about how you will respond. So maybe it's, when I feel the urge to complain, I will always look for the silver lining. Remember what I talked about the other day? Not I have to do this, but I get to do this. Have a plan in place about how you'll redirect your behavior. Number three, eliminate your exposure to a bad habit. Let's consider the other side. Change your environment or the people associated with it. Are there people who are generally predisposed to complaining that impart that behavior you're trying to avoid on your own actions? Number four, make this habit part of your identity. Remember we talked about the phrase, I am the type of person. Here it's, I'm the type of person that doesn't complain. Number five, use a habit tracker which leverages the multiple laws of behavior change by simultaneously making a behavior obvious, attractive, and satisfying. So now, I know this seems a bit overkill to some people, but I go through every single action that I'm working on month by month and see if I'm following through and checking that box every day. Some things are very action-oriented, some things are very behavior-oriented. It allows me to go to number 6, which is reflect, investigate, and celebrate small victories along the way. So by being intentional with where your attention is directed, with near constant regularity, we're better able to assume those behavior patterns that we wish to emulate, make them part of our identity, and ultimately make them more natural. Hope you found that useful. Have a great one.